smoke emitter installation successful. This portable version is practically identical to the mounted prototypes you've been using thus far.
Excellent. A tool like this will make it much easier to get around.
Just keep in mind that its effective range had to be reduced to achieve portability. If you move too far away from your target, the tool will deactivate.
Ah. Noted.
Shields at 50%.
Research director.
She's alone. Why aren't there any medtechs here?
She must have sent us away to help the other patients. Of course she did.
This data includes a message from the research director, addressed to you, Dr. Harlan.
Play it, Juno.
Perhaps I could store it for a later time once we...
Juno.
Of course, Doctor. Beginning playback. Everett?
I don't know if you'll ever find this, but I wanted to get it out before... Well, before things get any worse. If you do manage to find this, well, then you know what's happened. I suppose the good news is we've got the emitter detector to work. Which, if I'm not mistaken, means you owe me dinner. Everett, listen to me. I know you're going to try to put all this on yourself somehow. Make yourself believe there was something you'd have done had you been here, but it's not true. You understand? Don't go trying to carry that. We all knew developing a cure was virtually impossible. No one here was waiting to be saved. You're leaving. You're already doing everything you could do to try and stop this. I miss you, Everett. Be safe. I love you. Goodbye.
You'll need to return to the lobby to access the containment area.
I'm so sorry, Harlan.
I too am sorry. It's clear you meant a great deal to one another.
She was a good person. She deserved a better resting place than this.
I'm back in the lobby, proceeding to biomass containment. There's another voice-activated control panel here.
Additional security for the biomass containment area. It requires the voice authorization of a high-ranking official.
Well, we've got Dr. Harlan, right? Let's get that door open.
My authorization won't be enough. We'll need someone with higher clearance.
The research director.
After a lockdown, she'd be the only one able to enter containment.
With a large enough sample of the director's vocal modulations, I should be able to synthesize her voice.
We've got a log of her final moments. That's not enough?
Unfortunately, no. And inaccurately synthesizing her voice could lock us out permanently. We'll need more vocal data.
Great. So, we're stuck then?
Pull up my personal archive, Juno. There's just one file there.
You're sure, Dr. Harlan?
Go on.
Beginning playback.
I just... You know I wouldn't leave unless I had...
Okay. Until we change. From that. I just wish.
I know, Nora. Me too. I won't be long.
That should be enough for me to synthesize the director's voice.
Do it.
This is Dr. Nora Parekh. Authorized containment access.
Juno,
Yes, Doctor?
never do that again.
I'm entering what appears to be an excavation site.
You are correct. It's the only remaining route to the biomass containment area. We should be able to find our sample there.
Acknowledged.
Is this containment area where the outbreak started?
Most likely. I'll continue parsing logs to see if I can determine what happened.
I'm sure that's not necessary.
Do it. I need to know.
Of course, Doctor.
I assume these barriers were set up while construction was taking place.
Correct. Data files show a series of tunnels extending beyond the barriers.
The scale of these excavations seems to far exceed our mining efforts back on the Kronos 2.
Absolutely. Though, this excavation was done to leverage the asteroid's bulk as a protective layer against the biomass. Any valuable mineral extractions were merely a byproduct.
Does most of humanity have to live like this? Underground, so to speak?
For several generations now.
I'm sorry. We'll find a cure. We have to.
Were these excavators being used to expand the containment area?
I can't be certain, but given the advancements made in insulation cloaking technology, I imagine they would have been trying to ramp up testing or possibly even production. Undoubtedly, that would have required taking in more samples than the facility was currently equipped to contain.
Could that be what caused the accident?
Possibly. If the research team was indeed rushing to complete work on the cloaking tech, then it is possible certain containment systems were overtaxed.
I should have been here.
Then you'd be dead too. And so would we, probably.
I'm detecting a tick up ahead.
Would my cloak emitter be effective?
I believe so. And the device's range should allow you to cloak the tick before it detects you.
Were these excavators being used to expand the containment area?
I can't be certain, but given the...
Cloaking successful.
All this advanced tech, and the biomass still broke containment.
Yes. This is why eliminating the biomass is our only option.
Were these excavators being used to expand the containment area?
I can't be certain, but given the advancements made in insulation cloaking technology, I imagine they would have been trying to ramp up testing or possibly even production. Undoubtedly, that would have required taking in more samples than the facility was currently equipped to contain.
Could that be what caused the accident?
Possibly. If the research team was indeed rushing to complete work on the cloaking tech, then it is possible certain containment systems were overtaxed.
I should have been here.
Then you'd be dead too. And so would we, probably.
I'm approaching the large opening. There is a conveyance system installed overhead.
That is how newly arriving containment units were transferred into main storage. Local telemetry indicates a significant biomass presence throughout the area. Containment certainly failed here.
Acknowledged. I will proceed with caution. This container must have lost power at some point. Unfortunately, it appears its contents have escaped. How certain are we that a functional container is still here?
Based on the logs, one stock container arrived shortly before the lockdown.
Hopefully, it remains intact. I cloaked one of the sensors on this web, but it's not having the same effect as before.
One of? How many sensors does this web have?
At least 4.
Then this web must have been cultivating here for some time. It's possible this is where the outbreak originated.
Unfortunately, Jack, your cloak emitter cannot sustain enough insulation fields to blind all of those sensors.
There must be something else we can do.
Agreed. I'll find a way to retract the web. There is an electrical transformer here. Its power field appears to be keeping all nearby biomass active.
Any chance there's a bypass hooked up to it?
Effectively? No. That subsystem has been consumed by the biomass.
Lovely.
If you can't cloak the sensors, cloak the power source.
Oh, nicely done, Jack.
That was unexpected. I'll need just a moment to further analyze the reconstructed targeting software. Ah, I see it now. The cloak emitter should be able to target power sources as well, as long as they're sufficiently compact.
Copy that. Proceeding through the web now. Is this the cargo bay?
Yes, and our containment unit is indeed intact.
I'm still prepping the intake system. Should be ready by the time the container gets here, though. I'm assuming we have what we need.
Readings show a full complement of ticks within. So, yes, Captain, we have what we need.
Is the unit safe to approach?
Yes, the container is fully powered and the insulation fields are active. Those ticks are pacified. I'll send a cargo drone to retrieve it as soon as the bay door is open.
On it. Collecting these ticks could not have been easy.
The X3 synthetics did lose many shares in the process, but they performed their function.
Does this crane meet the size requirements for the cloak emitter?
Unlikely. However, I suspect it is more useful without insulation anyway.
This door allows for external access into the cargo bay, correct?
Indeed. Unfortunately, even though the door is receiving power, the lockdown procedures are preventing it from being opened remotely. You'll have to use its main control console.
Acknowledged.
to retrieve the container. When you're able, please find controls to open the bay door.
Are these the controls for the bay door?
Correct.
Exterior bay door opened.
Copy that. We'll send over a cargo drone to retrieve the container. Shouldn't take too long.
Jack, we'll just need you to manually release the container once the drone has secured it.
Acknowledged. I'll head to the cargo bay.
Careful, Jack. There's another form of the biomass nearby. You may have seen them before. Elongated structures with an affinity for spore dispersion.
Indeed, cysts. Their rapid regrowth, even after bursting, makes them particularly dangerous. This specimen appears somewhat different than the others I've previously encountered. It has tentacles.
Yes, I believe that particular adaptation manifested somewhat recently. The biomass has been evolving continuously since your time. Regardless, you'll want to keep your distance, if possible. There's a fair bit of data here. It should prove useful in our efforts to develop a cure. Good find, Jack. This is the administration area. Once past the next hallway, Jack, you'll be back in the cargo bay.
These controls are offline. Can this door be bypassed?
I'm afraid not. However, as a precaution, this area runs on a localized power grid. If you can find a way to restore that grid, the door should become operable. Jack, the door in the admin area runs off a local power grid. You'll need the grid back online in order to proceed.
Nicely done. Starting to get a feel for that cloak emitter, are we, Jack?
It is quite effective.
That is indisputable at this point. And it has brought us that much closer to a cure. For that alone, we should be grateful.
in this corridor, a further casualty of the biomass. 2, in fact.
Dr. Stephen Garrick and Senior Technician Avery Park.
Seems they were left behind in the evacuation.
I doubt that. If they're here, it's probably because they chose to stay.
What do you mean?
I knew these people. Every researcher here understood what an outbreak would mean, that they would have to do whatever was necessary to try and protect the rest of the station.
I've nearly made it back to the cargo bay.
Good to hear, Jack. The drone should be there shortly.
Jack, the cargo drone will be unable to retrieve the container until it's released from the loading pallet. There should be a release mechanism near the container.
A way to release the container?
That is correct. That access panel may be used to free the container from the pallet below.
Container released.
Confirmed. Container primed for departure.
It will need to be hooked up once it gets here, Jack. You had to give it the final touch.
I believe I would, yes. I doubt the procedure will take long.
Okay then. See you in a few.
Container departing in T-minus 10 seconds. Jack, if you're planning on accompanying the container, now would be a good time to take hold. Cargo drone is departing in 3, 2, 1. Igniting thrusters. Jack, I hope you don't mind. I've switched us to another comms channel for a moment. I have a somewhat personal question to ask you. Do you mind?
Go ahead, Juno.
Captain Rhodes, she considers you a friend, yes?
I think so, yes.
You think so?
Human social cues are often difficult to interpret, but I am nevertheless confident that the captain and I are indeed friends.
Then, how did you reach that conclusion?
In the time I have known Captain Rhodes, she has consistently demonstrated behaviors that suggest she values my company, trusts my insights, and harbors a great concern for my overall well-being.
I see.
Why do you ask?
I'm trying to discern if Dr. Harlan considers me a friend. Biometrics indicate he is still experiencing some distress, but I'm unsure if it would be appropriate for me to console him. What is your assessment?
Based on my observations, I believe Dr. Harlan considers you a friend. He will appreciate your efforts, even if he does not outwardly display it.
Thank you, Jack. I agree with your assessment. I will do what I can to help the doctor feel better. Wait, did we just become friends?
I suppose we did.
Splendid. I'll return comms to the public channel now.
Is Habitat B reachable?
I'm afraid not. It's completely severed from the rest of the facility and beyond the signal range of the systems that currently allow you to reboot. Cargo now approaching the dock, beginning descent.
Hey there, Jack. Good to see you're still in one piece. Same deal as before. Hook up controls near the cargo clamps.
Container in place and ready to be secured.
Go ahead, Jack.
These containment units are quite effective. The ticks appear well pacified. How will we safely transfer them into the ship?
We've modified an intake unit to flush them directly into the engineering bay. It should be much safer than attempting a controlled breakout.
Slight deviation from the original accident, but for the added safety, worth it.
Biomass containers secured in place.
Copy that. System check, Juno. How did we do?
Systems nominal. Both the fuel cell and biomass container are secure and fully engaged with the ship's intake systems.
Well, Jack, looks like things are wrapped up here. No need for you to rush back, though. I'm not exactly eager to send you hurtling through time again.
Of course.
Also, Dr. Harlan could always use more data for his research, if you'd like to continue exploring the station.
Copy that, Juno. Juno, this appears to be some sort of communication antenna.
A signal relay, to be exact. It's a key part of Chiron Station's intranet, as well as the external comms array. There are many more of them located throughout the station. If we reactivate them, we should be able to recover any data they might have stored.
And what is it you hope to find, Juno?
It's likely that a large amount of research data is stored in their buffers. Data that should prove useful in developing a cure for the biomass.
Well, cheers to that.
How shall I proceed?
Well, there are several clusters of relays throughout the station. One cluster per major facility. The issue is that the relays within each cluster are no longer linked. Thus, manual relinking is required.
How is that achieved?
For a given cluster, you'll need to pull the activation switch on each of its constituent relays. However, that will trigger a timeout countdown. Once a relay is activated, you'll have only 25 seconds to activate another. Fortunately, doing so will renew the countdown.
25 seconds to activate each signal relay. Understood. I've located an access hatch on the exterior of the transit hub. However, there does not appear to be any way of opening it.
I see. You would be able to cut the hatch's bolts if they were exposed from this side. Fortunately, I believe there may be a second hatch nearby. It may warrant further investigation, if you feel so inclined.
Earth still appears blue from this distance. The blight of the biomass is nowhere in evidence.
You think we'll ever be able to go back? Not just me, but humanity.
Earth's biosphere has endured multiple extinction-level events, even before the onset of humanity. The odds of it weathering this latest cataclysm are more than favorable.
Yeah. She'll be alright.
This dock is now part of the computational array. Jack, I believe we have everything we need to send you to the past. Please return to the ship when you're ready. Jack, I'm reading a local ping from a nearby observation drone. Possibly a distress signal. Further inquiry may be warranted.
Juno, where does this tunnel lead?
According to schematics, this tunnel should take us to the auxiliary entrance for the Central Transit Hub's cargo intake.
Was this drone hiding?
Unfortunately, these units have limited defensive mechanisms. Shields at 95%. We are all ready when you are, Jack. Come meet us back on the ship once you're prepared to return to the past. Oh, fascinating. According to the data on this drone, certain mineral formations in this cavern have shown limited resistance to the biomass.
What is the discerning factor?
Unknown, but the construction logs for this area should contain a complete mineral survey. If we could access the logs, we should be able to identify which mineral formations are more resilient to infection.
Where would we find the logs?
In the control room, assuming they weren't consumed, that is. Shields at 50%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%.
The X3 shell is somewhat different from my original specification.
Does that present an issue?
only in so much as I do not yet fully identify the physical form as my own. Is that unusual?
Uncertain. I know that for many humans, conceptualizing their identity can be a challenge. However, I do not possess any record of a synthetic experiencing that particular difficulty. You may be the first.
An empty dock. Perhaps there's a workstation nearby.
Stand by while I sift through the logs. Yes, here we are. It would appear mineral formations with a lower carbon content exhibit resistive properties in the presence of biomass.
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active. Signal relay activated. Jack, you're running out of time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Linking sequence timed out. Jack, preparations to send you back to the past are complete. Meet us back on the ship whenever you're ready. Shields at 95%.